Good afternoon. Had a very constructive and substantive meeting with Mr. Akıncı. I am having the same meeting tomorrow with Mr. Anastasiades. As you will have seen from the leader statement, both Mr. Anastasiades and Mr. Akıncı last night, they came out of a meeting that they have described as productive, constructive, good. I agree with them. I don't want to add anything to what they said about that meeting, but we are working now to build on that momentum for the next leaders meeting, which will be held on Monday morning. So as you can see, contrary to expectations on some quarters, there is no let-up in the process. It's moving forward constructively and in a structured way. The negotiators have been working particularly hard over the last weeks to prepare documents for these conversations, and I think we are right now in a positive spot. As I keep saying, there's a lot of work yet to be done and many outstanding issues, but the spirit surrounding the talks and in the talks, I think, is good. I also want to highlight the fact that we have Assistant Secretary of State Victoria Nuland on the island now. I had meetings with her. She also met with both with Mr. Akıncı and Mr. Anastasiades. That's one of the many visits that we're having now from countries that really want to support this process, support the leaders in what they are trying to do. I was myself in Paris on Friday. I saw the French Foreign Minister and other representatives of the French government. France also expresses a strong desire to be helpful in this process. The day before I spoke to the British Foreign Minister, and I'm just mentioning this to show that the international interest and expression of support for this at this critical juncture is very, very strong. And of course, when I speak to them, we also always talk about the more material dimensions of support, including economic support.
Right. What did you achieve last night? Can you tell us some new achievements about the chapters which were unsolved, for example?
I would love to, but I cannot. And every time you ask, and I have my, as I told you before, deep sympathy with the question, but I also very much respect that it should be the leaders who decide what and when they shall communicate, because as you know, we have an interdependent set of negotiations where one issue in one area is connected to another issue in another area. So we're building an understanding, and we're also working to take some of the existing understandings down to black text. But I don't want to neither steal the thunder nor to do what I think the leaders will be doing when they feel time is right. I would again underline we have a lot of work yet to do. There are many issues that still have to be solved, and it's not all going to be easy. But what I just reference to what the public statements last night and this morning from both leaders, that they were satisfied with the meeting itself and what the meeting represents in the talks, and I think I will support that sense. I think that was a sense shared by everyone involved.
Yes, sometimes we are reading from the Greek Cypriot media that the spokesperson of the Greek Cypriot government made a statement about the property issues, that there is still important unsolved issues on the table, for example. You probably read this statement on the Greek media.
I just said myself that there are still many issues on the table. And
you wouldn't make any more further comments about that?
Well, I mean, here we have a ongoing intense negotiations. The negotiators have met, now it's more than 100 times, informal meetings, apart from all their other contacts. The leaders are meeting now for this, on Monday for the second time in less than a week. We're engaging in a cross-sector. People wouldn't do this if they didn't believe that this was getting somewhere. But the point is not so much what do we achieve on any given day. The point is where this overall process is heading, and significant progress is being made. Significant issues are outstanding, and that's going to be I expect that to be my comment next week and the week after that as well, because it will take time before this is over. But they are doing their best to overcome any differences, but also to deal with issues where there is no difference, but they have to be tackled. I mean, the economic dimension of this, for instance, is not a disagreement. but it requires work to take on.
Can I ask you a question? You met with British and the French foreign ministers.
Yes.
And you know the natural resources issue is a controversial matter. The issue came up when you met with them, and that's my first question. The second question: our president is willing to make this joint statement about the ongoing negotiations, the convergences and the differences, and I mean, is there an important foreseeable future that there will be a meeting or a press conference in such context?
Well, that could perfectly well be, but if that happens, it happens, and when it happens, they will be there. So rather than making statements about future statements, let's see when the statements come. And I have good conversations with key supporting countries and organizations, and I will have those conversations with them, not necessarily through the media.